All right, good day, children. This is the review for the section 8.1 to 8.3 quiz. Now, here's the first problem. Note a couple things. One, your graph must have arrows at both ends of it. No arrows means no full credit. Notice this is a 2 to the x, which means it's an exponential growth, which means it should go up and to the right. Now, I created a t-chart here, picking my key points, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Doing all the work over here. Remember, a negative exponent, it flips the fraction, so 2 to the first, negative first, this becomes 1 over 2 to the first. You could have that at decimal as 2.5, your choice. Now, when we do this, you take your points and you plot them. So at -1, I get 2.5. At 1, I get 5. Excuse me, 0, I get 5. At 1, I get 10. And at 2, I go all the way up to 20. You do have to have tick marks if a graph is not provided for you. Now, the asymptote is y equals 0. I'm not asking for the label, but it's a good idea to remember where it is so you know I can't cross the line y equals 0. I don't need a dotted line there because that actually is the x-axis. And you plot your graph with a nice smooth curve. The second question is an exponential decay because of that 1/2 to the x right there. Remember, that's between 0 and 1. That makes it a decay. So I go ahead and plot this out. I put in -1, 0, 1, and 2. I plot them at -1, I get 10. At 0, I get 5. At 1, I get 2.5 or 5 over 2. And 2, I get 5 over 4 or 1.25. You plot those points in a nice smooth curve. And again, it can't go below y equals 0. All right, for this one, the only thing different about that is that x plus 2, that's not going to change my asymptote, still y equals 0. It's just going to make my graph look a little different in terms of where it crosses the y-axis. Again, pick your points, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Go ahead and do the work for those. Now, they're all decimals. You can keep them as the fractions if you want, right there, or decimals, whatever makes it easier for you to plot them. Now, key important point for number 4 here. Number 4 has that +1 at the end of it. What does that do? Well, as you can see in blue here, it changes my asymptote. Remember, it hops my entire function up 1. So I used to not be able to go below 0, and now I can't go below 1. Because it moved from my x-axis along here, because it moved from that point, you need to actually draw the dotted line. You don't need the equation, unless I ask for it, but you need the dotted line. And again, now your graph can't go below 1. Again, same thing. Plot your points here. -1, 0, 1, and 2. And go ahead and plot these. Number 5 here. Number 5 is a couple things. First off, that -2 makes my asymptote y equals -2. Dotted line across there. That -5 in front, the negative as it says here, flips graph. That negative flips your graph. So instead of going up and to the right, now it goes down to the right. Note arrows at both ends. Nice smooth curve, and here are your points. Again, you want to include a t-chart in case I can't tell where your points are. That would be my suggestion. Not having this would be detrimental. Putting that there. Now last is the problem 6. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is depositing money into a bank. He puts $30,000, that's your p-value, into a bank with 1.25% interest. Now notice here the rate is 0.0125. You move the decimal point 2 points to the left. Just because it's there is 1.25%, you still need to move it over. That's the common mistake everyone makes. 5 years, there's my t-value. Now they ask how much will it be if interest is compounded monthly. That's n equals 12. So you put your formula. A equals P times the quantity 1 plus R over N to the NT power. You do have to have that memorized. So you put that in here. And you get $31,932.79. Rounded 2 decimal places, please. It's money. Annually, N equals 1. You put that 1 in there. Do the same thing. $31,922.46. And which makes sense, the more times you compound your interest monthly versus annually, this one, the first one, should be greater than the second one. Now, compounded continuously is the time we use the PERT formula. That should be the most amount of money we get in total out of doing any of these things. Now remember, just a reminder for you guys, the more times you compound, the more cash you should get. You should never get less money than you started off with, because if you do, that means you have a really terrible bank, and you should probably move banks. Thus ends this review. If you have any questions, please come and see me, email me. Good skill, because at this point, luck has nothing to do with it.